Please do that every time.
Got to make my man G laugh, man.
This is
You know.
true. This is true.
Hey, I don't need it. I didn't have it enough in my years.
Yep.
Cool, Cam. You are almost good.
Almost good.
Yeah,
What's that mean?
that means my will
You're good in
spin.
Facebook.
Oh, okay. I am good at Facebook. All right. Anyways, we'll get it rocking. Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, welcome back. Financial Friday. As you guys know, we rock on Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to give you guys the knowledge and the know-how, the market updates of the week. That way, you guys can be most informed about your money, about your time, about your investments. So that being said,
Mm.
gentlemen, what is good with you?
What's going on, Cam? Feeling good, man. I'm feeling. I don't know. Feeling excited. It's always anytime I get to be on the screen with you guys, I'm super appreciative. So
Yeah, man, definitely. I feel blessed, man. Feel blessed to be here.
It's been a busy week for sure. Yesterday we had the mastermind all day session,
Yeah,
and and today here we are.
yes, sir. Yes, yes.
I'm
So
loving it, man. I'm hoping. Hopefully, we give people the value that we seek to give them every single week. I know that's one. You're right. He always makes sure to tell people, "Hey, we're just here to present value." So, yep.
Hey, if we
Let's
if
get
we're
to
not
it.
if we're not providing value, what we doing?
this is true.
No
This
point
is
in
true.
being here.
I just want to say I like how like the light is like giving me like a little halo. You feel me? So
Halo.
white boy special. You feel me? Uh, so without further ado, we're gonna get to the first one. All right. So Jeremiah, being as this week was your picks, man, go ahead and break it down for us first.
I can't really see the screen, but we talking about Japan, right? We're talking about the Coinbase. Is that what I can't see it?
You want to?
Ooh, I
Oh
can't
no,
see.
we're gonna do the 2023 investment narrative is already diverging from 2022.
Cool. So, anytime that you're sitting and you're thinking about 2022 when it comes to investments, obviously we know that it was a negative year. Are you able, Cam, to pull up that the chart that's in there? A little
Yeah, which
uh,
the strike, the treasury yield.
yeah.
Okay,
So
can you see it?
yeah. So what
Okay.
we're starting to do, guys, starting to see there's a lot of different sectors that were fairly represented in 2022. Obviously that you lost a lot of money, right? It's not it's not a big secret, but the overall investing in the very and so this is early, right? It's January, but what you're starting to see is that a lot of the sectors that were negative last year or the worst bad actors are some of the best good actors right now in the beginning of the year, and that goes from consumer details, right? Because last year you were probably more focused on like utilities or
Mm-hmm.
healthcare, things like that. Now it's switching over. Now you're starting
Mhm.
to see some positives from the sectors you didn't see previously. And for me, really, in a nutshell, because you could get super technical with this, but in a nutshell, I really, honestly, truly believe that as people start to invest, number one, you want to start making sure that you're. I think I got some feedback here, but you want to start putting your money right into diversified sectors. Hedge your bet.
Mm-hmm.
And so many for the longest time, right? We've rode the Netflix, Apple, what is it? Tesla,
Yep.
right? We rode that whole cycle. So the focus
Mm-hmm.
should be for you to try to diversify yourself, realizing that maybe I should put money into something that's a little bit more stable. I'll keep some
Yeah.
in a risk, right? Go back. mm, I don't know if you see it. I'm trying to. Yeah, they're not showing it. Okay, all good. There's a actual there was an actual graphic that showed some of the sectors that we were talking about. But the main focus of this, guys, is that as you start to realize you need to put your money in multiple different places. There it is. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want the people to see. So as you're looking at that,
Mhm.
right, your focus is like, I don't know what all these X's are or what does this mean? I remember earlier I just talked about, we were talking about consumer discretionary is XLY, right? Um, Amazon and Tesla is a big piece of that, which is tech. That's a piece of that. Tech itself is XLK. Communication services is XLC. So anything that's in the green is good, right? You see XLY is leading. XLY is consumer discretionary, money that you can control. That's a good thing. That means people are starting to shop again. Solid, right? And of course, the red, it's stuff that you're like, I'm losing money, which is crazy because that's utilities, that's healthcare, right? That's consumer staples, things that on the day-to-day that you use. So what is it saying? What it's saying is that people are starting to realize that I'm moving away from maybe some of the energy stocks, some of the things that I thought the greener things, right? I'm starting to spend more money. So if you're looking into retail consumer side of life, if you're looking at tech, okay, I would invest in anything except those three red, the actual three red sectors right there. That's really, I would do anything else. And also at the very bottom of the actual article, it starts to mention about obviously Bitcoin and about crypto. And it's telling you how, how it's doing good. It's doing well. Basically bet on Bitcoin, which is like, that's like a no-brainer. That's really no news. If you always just leave your money in Bitcoin, if you're into crypto, Bitcoin has always been the stable. We're going through some very rough times with with every FTX and all that stuff going on, but Bitcoin is always there to be stable.
Right.
It out.
Yeah, I'm glad that you kind of broke that chart down for people, because you're right. A lot of people they'll see these articles or they'll see things on social media platforms and they don't really kind of know what that means. So appreciate you breaking that down.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, because like,
Gee,
yeah,
what do you see?
oh, yeah.
Or Cam, what do you see? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, I was gonna say the same thing. Is like, I think a lot of people, especially people have a lot of these services, right? That supposedly keep them up to date on what's going on. Like, oh yeah, everyone's got the Yahoo Finance app, but probably like 95% of the things that are pushed to them in retrospect, they probably don't even know how it affects them or where it's affecting from. Right. And so that's what we hope to. That's what we're doing. That's what we do with this show. Is like, how does it affect you and what is it doing? But gee, what were you about to say, brother?
No, that was it. Was more of kind of raising awareness on that. When it comes to, the diversification as we continue to talk about, and how important and valuable it is to do that. Something I was kind of reading when it was talking about this kind of Tesla and Amazon again, right? Laying folks off, stocks going up, they're going down, they're going back up. That's nothing new in the market, right?
Yeah.
It's really nothing new in the market. But again, just kind of knowing what your risk tolerance is, that's going to be the key. That's going to be the key when you're looking to not just diversify, but specifically what your targets are, and what you're looking at kind of investing in, right? And so, yeah, it was more so just kind of to highlight that graph that Jeremiah Rico just kind of broke down a little bit. I think that is probably the most important thing on this piece, or one of the most important things on this article.
Yeah. And I think as people are like, so this part right here, it says investors seem to be pricing in this objectively bad news for what it is, bad news, instead of trying to play 4D chess with Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve. Because everyone, like we've talked about on previous shows, right? Like everyone's like, oh, it's going to do this year. And it either doesn't do that or maybe it does. And as we all know, people are going to take charts and information as much as possible. So I think that's funny that it's like retrospectively, people are like, it's just a bad day. I'm not even going to worry about it. So, but yeah.
I think the biggest... No, I was just going to say the craziest thing about all of this is that when you dig deeper and when you fully understand, like what are the precursors to these sectors? Like if you were looking at tech, right? You're looking at NVIDIA, you're looking at Amazon, you're looking at Tesla. What's the precursors? Lithium's the precursor for the battery that goes inside of the Tesla.
Thanks.
So it's those, knowing those precursors and knowing the root things. And if I invest in that, or if I'm, hedging my bet with those type of things, then that puts me in a better position to be more successful.
Mhm.
Agreed. I like it. All right, let's go on to our next one.
Next.
All right, so our next article is
How many people love Cam with
Coinbase.
the whiteboard?
Man, he's gonna get even more real, bro. All right, Coinbase halting operations in Japan gives customers 4 weeks to pull funds.
Crazy.
Jeremiah, what you got for this?
I chose this because I think it's time for.
He said, "Let me take a deep breath,
Yeah,
real quick."
I mean, yeah, I chose this because I think it's time for people to start to realize, hey, realize that these companies are still companies, no matter the sector that they're in. Coinbase is still a company, right? Whether it's crypto and you feel that you have total control, you feel that it's deregulated, DeFi, all this stuff. No, it's still a company. So let's look at it. It's still a company that's trying to gain profits. Listen, the Japan office has only been in existence since July of 2021. They just opened it, and they're already closing it. And think about how inconvenient that is for people that are in Japan, right? And they're like, okay, I have my money in by the 16th of February, they're going to convert it to yen and put it in a guarantee account, right? And it's held by the Bureau of Retrieval. And how difficult is that going to be to get your money from them? So I think that as I start to look into it, it's kind of a sign of the times. Coinbase was one of the first and one of the largest, right, platforms, trading platforms that actually allows you to have multiple different types of altcoins. Of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, your main actual cryptocurrencies. So as you look into it, you start to see the pain. And then at the end of towards the end, I'm looking and it's talking about how the overall volume, right? The overall volume is down 20%. It said 87.6 trillion, down 23%. That's a lot of money. That's a whole bunch of money. But that's down 23%. So imagine, right? Yeah, Coinbase lost 80% of its value in 2022. It was a whole year for everybody. You lost 80% of their market value in 2022. So I can see that coming. It's weird because at the end of the day, the actual global, the governing factors that talk about basically where are you as a company. Ratings is one of the largest, and so we're rating them. They were at a BB, right? Not an A. They were at a BB company, right? And a lot of that has to do being,
No, that's a BB.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of that has to do with being a crypto based company, right? But they got demoted to a BB minus. So that's I feel like, man, you lose market share that way, you lose credibility, which it hurts you as far as borrowing power to expand your company. So all this stuff is going on, man, and it's tough. Crypto's a tough space right now, but I posted it and I got it out there because I want people to see that it's rough and that crypto Coinbase, one of the largest countries, it's still a business.
Yeah. What you got, G?
None. Well, one of the first things that when I started reading it, actually it was the very first sentence, and kind of Rico touched on it a bit. For folks that don't know what Coinbase is, the largest U.S. based crypto exchange, right? So when I was looking at this, and I was like, man, it's pretty interesting how the world has taken such a shift this last 2 years, right? Going from sitting at those board meetings as far as like forecasting vision and expanding across the globe, right? Planting places and planting offices in Japan and China, like just all over, and now having to kind of scale back, right? So for me, when I was looking at this, it was more from a leadership perspective as far as like expansion, and then now needing to kind of pivot. But like this is a large pivot. Like when you take an 80% drop, you have to figure something out. And so again, just continue to read this stuff, man, and seeing how much the world is being impacted. I'm saying how globally how we're being impacted, how investors are being impacted, and having to make the decision. Hey, do I stick this thing out because I trust and believe with the vision of the people who the boards, or do I pull out right now? So yeah, man, this was a very interesting article for me.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and that's something to take into consideration, like you said, is do I believe in the vision? So I think too many times we hear the whole, invest in a company and just leave it for 20 years and everything will be okay. One of the things I saw today, I saw a video and it was really good, was that investing in large companies or companies we all know about doesn't always mean it's a sound investment. Disney's down 18% in the last 5 years. And there's these other companies as well. Of course, they're coming off the top of my head, but I remember there was one company that was a Delta. It was down 30% 5 years. People in general are like, oh, I invest in that, we're good to go. So it's really, like you said, Glenn, it does come down to the leadership aspect of it. Is, do you believe in the vision of the company and the commodities piece, like Jeremiah is always talking about? Do they have the resources to continue where the business is going to, right? And then realistically, it's what's your risk tolerance?
Yeah.
For what you're doing. And I don't think enough people think about. I am interested, and I know it's not one of our articles, but I am interested to see how Saudi Arabia agreeing to use other currency for the sale of oil is going to affect the markets as well. Because now that is, there's been conversations about it. People are like, oh yeah, we think we're going to do it, but they have now committed to taking other currency, and they are also also the world's largest exporter of oil. So how is that going to affect the downfall of the petrodollar as we know it, and then which is then going to roll into these other markets, right?
Right. And what you just said just kind of ties back into the title of this. Coinbase halting operations in Japan, give customers 4 weeks to pull their funds. Right.
Yeah.
I read something in there how, like, basically if your funds aren't pulled, they're going to convert it over to the yen.
Yep. So it's like, what? So like what? So where is that coming from? Yeah. Because as we know, the whole premise of the petrodollar is the fact that more people buy money with US dollar or oil with US dollar, and then US dollars now get funneled back into the system because they got to buy stuff and invest in things with the US dollar. Mm-hmm. What you got, Jeremiah?
I think that I was letting you guys finish. I think that 110%. There's a background mentality on it, and actually, as we go into the next story, it's funny that we're mentioning this, right? That you mentioned it, because it rolls over to the next story. Because you see a shift. You see a shift in actual investments and the focus of where your money's going, which continent your money's going to. The changing of the petrodollar, right, or switching over, that just aligns with trends, right? The euro and the pound, and those things are starting to gain more steam and be strengthened, right? And the dollars then weaken, right? Which just makes more sense for Saudi Arabia, because I want to get money regardless. And if the strength of these other currencies are stronger than the dollar, why shouldn't I accept them?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll move on to the next one.
Hopefully our viewers are getting some value out of this, man. Again, we talk about that value. It's some of this stuff goes over people's heads, so I'm glad that you guys break things down the way you're breaking it down for folks.
Oh, agreed. If you guys got anything for us, please, by all means, write it in the comments. We see it here, and we'll put it on the screen. Yep. That way other people can kind of see what we're talking about. So let me pull this up for y'all. So our last article of the day, Goldman says investors are turning to non-U.S. stocks. So I know Jeremiah likes his graphs, so I'm gonna keep this one right. Ooh, goody!
It excites me. I love the graphs, man. I love the graphs. I think. Go ahead, Cam.
No, you good? No, wait, not you.
Okay, all right. Like, man, there's some article. Let's start with the fact that if you're reading it starts off and it says lower gas prices, We just talked about oil, right? You see that, right? Like directly, like immediately, it says gas, a weakened dollar and optimism over China's reopening. What does that do? That spurs the investors to take my money elsewhere. Maybe I don't need to have my money just solely based in US based companies, right? For the longest time, and US investors have always invested stuff, right? We always stayed focused on the car makers, on American technology companies, Apple, all these different things, right? It's kind of ran the gamut. People are starting to say, I need to look outside of these borders because not only is their currency stronger, it's just seemingly that's the way the world is going. It's starting to look better. Better premise. It's lined out a little bit better right now, right? So European equity flows, they saw influx, right? So a growth in the European equity flows for the first time since Russia invaded Ukraine. Well, why is that so huge? That's so huge because Russia was a huge proponent, right, of oil. Yep. Russia was they're a huge proponent of exporting oil. In Ukraine, they're a big proponent of commodities and things like fertilizer and urea and all these various things that you don't even really think about, but they help to feed people. So there was this whole blockade, and now you're starting to see money flowing into Europe. This all aligns with what we just talked about with them accepting different currencies. Everything is interconnected. See, you'll see different posts, right, and different articles, but they all are interconnected. Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, they're super bullish right now on European stock. That should tell you something. If you're looking at what people do, there's nothing wrong with being a copycat. You just want to copy the right cat. Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, two huge investment banks, right? They're bullish on European stocks. I always talk about commodities. Remember, Cam asked me about commodities. What did I say? I said I'm the commodity guy, right? Commodity prices drop. Now's the time to buy. Commodity prices have dropped. I said I'm going to be watching them. Signs of cooling inflation that has boosted optimism. People are starting to spend money, and these are the places in which you need to be looking. European, there's all sorts of different companies, the commodities from the European nations. Here's what I'll say: the overall, and this kind of with something that we were doing previously inside of our group, right? But I'm helping some clients, and I'm sitting them down, and they're looking at the various different indices and the things that they can move into, right? And I said, okay, let's look at money and where your money can go. Since last year, I've been helping people to invest in Barclays, which has a big global sector part of it, right? And it's ended up helping these people move their money and see some gains where maybe they hadn't thought that they were going to see some gains. Like, well, why would I want to invest in anything outside of the US? So you can hedge your bet. And this is all this article is telling you, that maybe this is time for me to fully invest and fully understand that America isn't everything. That there's things outside of the US. There's companies, right? There's life outside of the US, and you're able to invest in those and take full advantage of those. Take full advantage of the international indexes, Credit Suisse, Barclays. Right? There's all these there's a whole bunch of different indices and different things that you can invest in, but now's the time to actually check it out. Hedge your bet. I'm not saying leave your normal stocks and things that you're investing in. I'm just saying maybe reallocate a little bit. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I want to say this as you were talking, and when I read the article, the thing that the statement that stood out to me, or that popped in my head was this: are you playing the local game, or are you going to play the global game? Right. And so kind of going back to conversations we've had, months back, sitting down with clients and kind of talking global vision. Right. And like you mentioned, like the question being asked, like, why would I invest globally? Right. Well, why would you keep yourself within the box? Right. Like, why would you keep yourself only locally? It's almost like, and I'll use a military analogy. Right. I have family that have never been outside the city of Philadelphia. Right. They've never been outside those walls. And so while they can be super knowledgeable about everything that goes on in that box, right, in that local circle. Now, when you have other folks who have now been around the world, right, they've been around globally, like it expands your vision. The same is said to be true when it comes to investing. Right. So like I said, that I just wanted to say that as you touched on that, Jeremiah.
It's the insulation factor, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if y'all can see it, but I drew a circle, put USA, Europe, and Asia.
Yep.
Most people, when they're thinking about their finances, we're insulated. US, everybody wants US. Everybody wants to invest in S&P, all that. And a lot of times people don't understand that there's a whole other side of the world. Like there's like 3 other markets. And only now, and I think a lot of that has to do, social media, the access to technology, things of that nature. It was very easy for us to be insulated in the past, right? Because it was all local newspapers, local television, things like that. As technology grows, and it's not even just in an investment speech, even for people realistically deciding where they want to live and all types of things. People are starting to understand there, like you said, there are more options out there.
Right.
And to hedge your bet against what's my best option, people are dabbling. They're going to start dabbling more, right? Because we're no longer the heavy hitter on all fronts at all times.
Yeah.
Realistically, we never were, but we made it look like we were.
It was good smoke. It was good smoke and mirrors, man. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good censorship. It was good smoke and mirrors, right? The propaganda and stuff that you sell yourself. You know.
You know what I'm looking forward to?
Nice.
A couple weeks back, we were talking on AI, like forecasting, like stock projections and different things like that. I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes and tying into this, the in the global game, right? Because again, AI, that's a whole different league of its own. So based off of what's going on right now and the fine tweaks that they're making, when it comes to the projections from within AI, that's going to be. I mean, again, it could be a gift and a curse, right? And so, but I'm looking forward. That's something I'll be watching for these first 2 quarters of 23.
I think it's time to definitely take a hard look at AI if you haven't already looked at it. If you don't see Microsoft looking at OpenAI, if you don't see that investment, what started out as a $1.2 billion thought, right? Like a second glance turned into 10 billion going. So it's like there's people like it's serious and it's real. Chat, what is it? What's it called, Cam?
Chat GPT.
GPT. There it is. Chat GPT. If you haven't, download the app. I mean, it's a little abridged. If you actually go to the browser version, you probably get more done, but there's no limits to what that thing can come up with. I'm telling you. Put in there that you want a code of something, it writes code. I'm just giving you. I don't want to give all the juices away because I don't want to put stuff. You got to come up with it with yourself. I've already figured a couple things out that I don't even. I've streamlined I don't even have to do certain things anymore because I figured out the Chat GPT. It does it for me. I just tell it what to do and it does it for me. But anyway, do your thing.
You're right. I mean, I saw an ad on Facebook for Zapier, which a lot of people don't know. Zapier.
I like that one as well.
That's AI, and they have integrated the Chat GPT with their AI. So now you can set the task to where if I get an email, it will automatically reply to the email using the chat feature. It'll read the email and then reply to it. Bro.
Let's go.
One thing that they can't do. One thing that AI can't do at this moment. Now it may learn to the point to where it becomes fully sentient, right? A sentient being is us, right? But I'll say to this point right now, the AI can't feel. Now, this is what I'm saying. That instinct you have when you see Jamie Dimon for Chase and you see him speaking in a certain way and he's carrying a tone, you can tell from his tone by what he says in the context of how he's saying it. He was bluffing. That's us listening, interpreting, just wrote it out, and the machine saw that right out. It would have to go with what he said and couldn't interpret the socioeconomic background, what's going on, right? So that's one thing that is right now. Not just say it won't be able to. I'm just saying at this point, that's why humans, we us, right? Because if not, we'll work ourselves out of a job.
Agreed. Well, gentlemen, that's time. So as always, hey, we appreciate y'all. Financial Fridays, join us. Are we gonna be on next week? Or we're gonna be out
We'll do it. We'll do it. We're gonna do it live from location.
live from location. All right. So there you go. You heard it. Promised by live from location. We'll see y'all next Friday. Parting words, gentlemen.
No, I just want to say appreciate you guys tuning in.
Go ahead,
We definitely want to hear your comments, your thoughts, what you're feeling. We're going to continue to dissect and put this information on the table for you, so you can have these conversations with the people that you love, so we can elevate our mindset.
Yes, sir. Anything from
Love
you,
it.
Jeremiah? Good.
No, that's all. G totally summed it up. That's it.
All right, y'all.